They can't get out of Pittsburgh fast enough, right? Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Rodriguez, and welcome to the Thursday here on Dodgers Latest. You can always hit me up right there on Instagram and on X at JRodShow. And yeah, man, it's once again, the Dodgers just can't seem to beat bad teams. Inexplicable, right? They lose yesterday to the Pirates 3-0, and today the finale of the series in Pittsburgh, and they get Paul Skenes. Oh, by the way, it's Paul Skenes Day. We'll get into that as well. Of course, we want to thank you for making us part of your day and the community. Continue to hit the like button, share, and subscribe as we continue to grow, getting closer to that milestone episode here on Dodgers Latest. So we're glad you're all part of it. And of course, hit me up with all your comments. We read them, like them, and share them here on Dodgers Latest. All right, so Dodgers got a scare in that 3-0 loss. Will Smith took a foul ball off his right hand. Thankfully, the x-rays are negative. Will he play today? My guess is no. Dalton Rushing will probably be in the lineup. No sense Will Smith having to take on Paul Skenes tonight. The Dodgers real lucky because Will Smith had been leading the National League in batting average most of the season when in a terrible August tailspin, seemed to have gotten out of it, hit that pinch hit home run to win the game against the Diamondbacks on Sunday, and just as he had a multi-hit game against the Pirates earlier this week, well, then he gets hit in the hand on a foul ball. My guess is he'll probably take today off. Dodgers head to Baltimore for the weekend series with the Orioles. We'll probably see him back in there. If it's the right hand, I don't even know if he can DH. I would say x-rays were negative. That's great. No bones were broken, nothing like that, just a contusion. So hopefully take the day off, enjoy the flight up to Baltimore, and get after it this weekend as the Dodgers have continued to struggle against bad teams. Remember, they were in a stretch where they were playing 15 consecutive games against teams with losing records, and now with this Pirates series, they're in a stretch where they play 3 straight last-place teams, the Pirates, the Orioles, and the Rockies, and the Dodgers have started 0-2 in this last-place series of games. And look at that, 3-9 in their last 12 games against teams under 500. That is brutal. That is unacceptable. You've got to beat these teams. And I get it. Those teams they're major leaguers too. They're just having bad years, and when the Dodgers come to town or whether they play the Dodgers, it's their playoffs, it's their World Series, so they're trying to show out, especially this time of the year where they're trying to get contracts and jobs for next year, either with that team or with someone else. But I'll tell you what, they have the base running has been sketchy, the outfield play has been sketchy, and then hitting with runners in scoring position. Dodgers, here's the one thing. It's one thing if you lose 3-0 and you get one hit and they're just completely dominated. Hey, I can live with that. Hey, tip your hat off to the good pitching staff that you face. But the Dodgers are getting guys on base left and right. In yesterday's game, they had the bases loaded, nobody out. 0. They were 0 for 7 at one point with runners in scoring position. They're just not getting the key hits. Now, is that because the end of the lineup is full of Dalton Rushings and Alex Freelands and Miguel Rojas's as opposed to the Max Muncy's and the Tommy Edmonds? I don't know. I don't want to insult anybody. But the point is, they're really top-heavy, it seems like, and then the bottom half of the order, which had been playing well, but not well enough when you need that big hit, as yesterday's shutout performance has shown out. Listen, those guys are great sub-players, right? They're great bench players to come in short bursts to kind of spell a day off, injuries, but if they were good enough to be starters, they would be starters. That's the best way I could say it. And the Dodgers, we've had Miguel Rojas say, hey, we need to lock in for these last 20 games. When I hear that, I love Miguel Rojas, and I've said he'll probably be the next Dodger manager down the road. But where have they been the previous 140 games? Why aren't we locked in for those? And I get it, it's a marathon, but that kind of, those quotes don't make any sense to me sometimes. But 3-9 against teams with losing records, your last 12 games, unacceptable. And of course, tonight you run into a buzzsaw, and that you get the potential Cy Young Award winner in the National League in Paul Skenes. So from the fire to the fire to the frying pan, or the frying pan to the fire, however way it goes, Dodgers just have not been able to get started. And maybe it's the Max Muncy effect, right? Max is out with an oblique injury. And look at that. Since July 1st, that's the first time Max went on the IL. They are 21st in win percentage and 23rd in runs scored. The offense has just gone completely south. And we've gotten plenty of comments here on Dodgers Latest, and I want to continue that sort of trend, is that, hey, as the Dodgers offense, as Max Muncy goes, so does the Dodgers offense. And at first I was like, nah, it's a lot of guys. But man, it sure seems so. And for Max, he had been on fire since he got hurt his last time when he pulled that oblique. He was hitting 400 in his last 7 games with 4 home runs. Now, the story with Max is he was supposed to come back for this road trip to Pittsburgh and Baltimore, but he got sick. He's got like a sinus infection and he's not feeling well. So the sort of the thought process was, hey, let's not put him on an airplane with all those guys in a closed up space, and get everybody else sick. So stay home, get well, and the Dodgers will be home next Monday, play a quick little 3-game series with the Rockies, and then they go to San Francisco. The rejuvenated San Francisco Giants, by the way, who all of a sudden are 5 games out of that last wild card and are playing some great baseball. They're actually above 500. Remember when the wheels had fallen off for the Giants? We'll, of course, get into that when we get closer to the series, but the Giants are playing great baseball and are now nipping on the heels of the New York Mets. They got a lot of work to do. They still got to patch the Reds and the Mets to get into that last wild card spot, but stranger things have happened. And the Dodgers, they need to get over this, right? They need to get over this. 21st in winning percentage, 23rd in runs scored. Is it all Max Muncy? Well, let's get Max back in that lineup. And it looks like he'll be back in there Monday when the Dodgers take on the Colorado Rockies. All right, so we talked about it. Paul Skenes. It's Paul Skenes Day. Yeah, he's the favorite to win the NL Cy Young. The win-loss record isn't all that impressive. He's 9-9, but an absolute brilliant 2.05 ERA. Has been out of his mind. He's got 187 strikeouts in 167 innings this year, and he's already beaten the Dodgers once this year. He beat them April 25th at Dodger Stadium. He struck out 9 batters in that game in 6 1/3 innings. So 2.05 ERA, 187 strikeouts. Probably going to be the Cy Young Award winner this year. It looks like Christopher Sanchez of the Phillies is probably the only guy close to Paul Skenes in terms of competition. Obviously Sanchez has the advantage because his team is more than likely going to go to the playoffs, so it makes what Paul Skenes has done even more impressive. So he's trying to beat Dodgers for the second time. I don't know what your prop bets are tonight for Skenes strikeouts, but where the Dodgers are playing, it might be good to take the over on Skenes strikeouts tonight. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to see how good Paul Skenes is, and of course we've talked about it here. Boy, wouldn't it be great to see him in a Dodger uniform? Got a ways to go still before he can reach arbitration. It would have to be a trade, but at this point, Dodgers did get a Pirate, though. They did get Andrew Heaney. They signed him after the Pirates released him a couple of days ago, and he is going to be probably on the roster probably the next week or so when the Dodgers are done with this week-long road trip to Pittsburgh and to Baltimore. All right, a reminder, you can always hit me up on Instagram and on X at JRodShow. Dodgers 2.5 games up on the Padres in the National League West. The Padres do not play today, so that half a game will be made up. Dodgers essentially are 3 up in the loss column. They win today, they'll have a full 3-game lead. They lose, it's back down to 2, and the loss column gets reduced to 2. San Diego will be in Denver over the weekend while the Dodgers are in Baltimore. Dodgers 2 back of the Phillies for the number 2 seed in the National League. Philadelphia is playing the Brewers tonight, and they will be in Miami for the weekend. Dodgers trying to catch the Phillies, and of course they still have a series with them at Dodger Stadium September 15th through the 17th. So it's in 2 weeks, or it's a week from Monday, when the Phillies come to Dodger Stadium. Should be an interesting series to say the least. Talk about your playoff previews. Talk about a battle for the number 2 seed. Philadelphia has been scuffling of late. So have the Padres, thankfully, because so have the Dodgers. And the Dodgers trying to hold off the Padres in the National League West. This would have been a great time to sort of do that knockout punch against these bad teams. But the Dodgers can't seem to get out of their own way. All right, Paul Skenes tonight. It'll be Blake Snell for the Dodgers, so no chump change there. Then the Dodgers go to Baltimore. They're undecided on who's going to pitch over the weekend. Remember, they skipped Ohtani because he was feeling sick, got a little bit of a chest cold. So will he pitch in Baltimore? We don't know. Maybe they'll save him for the Rockies series Monday at Dodger Stadium. We do know that Yamamoto will pitch at some point during the weekend, and at some point maybe you'll probably have a bullpen game. We'll see how well Snell does tonight. If he goes deep in the game, maybe you have a bullpen game tomorrow, and then you do Yamamoto on Saturday. Yamamoto has not pitched since Sunday. They tried to give him at least 6 to 7 days rest before he pitches, so we'll see. I doubt we'll see him Friday night unless, of course, Blake Snell gets rocked early and the Dodgers have to dip into that bullpen for multiple innings, and then we may see Yamamoto, who could be pitching on his regular rest on Friday. My guess is we'll probably see him Saturday, definitely Sunday, in that series in Baltimore. All right, enjoy the night. Skenes night. Dodgers trying to get after it with their own 2-time Cy Young Award winner in Blake Snell. Of course, we'll have all the details and preview the weekend tomorrow right here on Dodgers Latest. Hit me up, J-Rod Show, X and Instagram. And remember, despite it all, it's always time for Dodger baseball.